I grabbed the heavy wrench from the emergency toolkit and raised it above the beacon lens. "Wait," Marcus shouted. "If you destroy it now, Sarah dies. She's part of the mechanism. You'll kill her." Sarah's light form smiled. "I'm already dead, brother. I died the moment I accepted this role." "Do it." "No." I lowered the wrench. "There's another way." I pulled out the instruction card one final time and held it directly against the red beacon light. In that crimson glow, the rules transformed completely. Rule 1. The beacon is fed by awareness. As long as someone maintains consciousness of its purpose, it shines. Rule 2. There is only one staircase. Up and down are the same. Time is the illusion. Rule 3. Doors closed at night keep you separate. Doors open unite you with what you've been running from. Rule 4. The fog knocks to test if you're still individual. Even numbers mean you're fragmenting. Rule 5. Your name called is yourself calling. Verify you're still you. Rule 6. The lighthouse needs a keeper. But keeper doesn't mean prisoner. It means choice. Rule 7. What you've lost is only lost if you refuse to see it differently. Rule 8. Red means threshold. You have 30 minutes to choose what you're becoming. "It's not a trap," I said, understanding flooding through me. "It's a test. An offer." Thomas Marsh flickered brighter. "Finally, someone gets it." I turned to the 17 trapped keepers. "You're not prisoners. You're volunteers who forgot you chose this. Who forgot you can leave anytime." "Leave?" The Coast Guard woman laughed bitterly. "Leave to where? We're dead. Fated. Gone. Your patterns of consciousness held by belief," I said, the words coming from that same deep place of certainty. "The lighthouse doesn't trap you. Your conviction that you're trapped does." I looked at Sarah. "Show me how to take your place. Not as a prisoner. As a choice." She touched my forehead with her light hand, and I understood everything. The lighthouse wasn't built to contain the fog. It was built to transform it. To turn the crushing weight of infinite lost things into a signal. A beacon that told the lost, you can stop searching. You can rest. The fog wasn't attacking. It was pleading. I stepped into the beacon mechanism center. The red light enveloped me, and I felt myself beginning to dissolve, not painfully, but like ice melting into water. Still myself, but expanded. "What are you doing?" Marcus shouted. "Accepting it. Consciously. Not as a sacrifice, but as a purpose." I looked at Sarah. "We do this together. Share the burden. And we invite everyone here to help. Not as prisoners. As volunteers." One by one, the other keepers understood. They stepped forward, joining their consciousness with the light. Not disappearing, transforming. The beacon shifted from red to gold to brilliant white. Through my expanded awareness, I felt the fog change. The desperate, grasping thing became something else. A meeting place. A memorial. A light that said, "The lost are not forgotten." Sarah's voice merged with mine. "The relief boat comes at dawn. For those who choose to leave." Marcus looked at his translucent hands. Looked at the exit. Looked at us. "I think," he said slowly, "I might stay. Just for a while. Someone should keep the log." I felt myself smile with light instead of lips. The beacon spun, and I spun with it, and through the endless fog I saw clearly. 17 keepers had become one light. And somewhere in the world, someone else was reading a letter about a lighthouse position. The cycle continued. But now it continued by choice. The fog pressed against the lighthouse window like a living thing, and something inside it was knocking. 3 rhythmic taps. Pause. 3 more. My hand shook as I grabbed the laminated instruction card from the desk. Rule 4. If something knocks from within the fog, count the knocks. Odd numbers mean stay silent. Even numbers require a response. 3 knocks. Don't respond. But I'd already answered. 5 seconds ago, before I'd remembered to check. I'd said hello through the thick glass, and now the fog was changing. Shapes moved within it, tall, impossibly thin shapes that shouldn't exist. The knocking stopped. Silence pressed down like deep water. I backed away from the window, the instruction card trembling in my grip. 8 rules. That's all I had. 8 rules to survive 72 hours alone in St. Augustine's Lighthouse while the autumn fog season peaked. Rule 1. Never extinguish the beacon light, no matter what you see. Rule 2. The stairs only go down at night. If you find stairs going up past the lamp room, do not climb them. Rule 3. Keep all doors closed between sunset and sunrise. Rule 4. The knocking rule. Already broken. Rule 5. If you hear your name called, verify the source through a closed door before responding. Rule 6. Smudged out. Water damage had rendered it completely illegible. Rule 7. The fog sometimes shows you things you've lost. They aren't real. Don't let them inside. Rule 8. If the beacon light turns red, you have 30 minutes to reach the mainland. Do not hesitate. The previous keeper, Marcus Webb, had left these instructions clipped to the logbook. No explanation. No context. Just rules written in increasingly desperate handwriting, the ink darker and more pressed with each line. The fog outside the window began to pull back, creating a clearing about 20 feet wide. In that space, standing on nothing, the lighthouse was 100 feet above the rocks, was a woman in a white dress. She looked exactly like Sarah, my sister. Dead for 3 years. Sarah smiled and raised one hand. She knocked on the glass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knocks. Even numbers. I had to respond. But Rule 7 said the fog shows you things you've lost, and they aren't real. Which rule did I follow? Sarah knocked again. 6 knocks. Patient. Waiting. The beacon light above me flickered. For just a second, it turned amber. Not red yet, but not the normal white either. I pressed my hand against the cold glass, opposite where Sarah stood in empty air. Her smile widened, showing too many teeth. Wrong. All wrong. I'm sorry, I whispered, pulling my hand back. Her face distorted, stretching horizontally like melting wax. The fog rushed back in, swallowing her, and something in the deep gray mass screamed, a sound that vibrated the glass and made my teeth ache. I'd survived my first test. I just didn't know how many more were coming. 48 hours earlier, I'd stood on the dock watching Marcus Webb's boat disappear into ordinary afternoon sunshine. He'd barely looked at me during the handoff. "You'll be fine," he'd said, thrusting the laminated card and a key ring into my hands. "Just follow the rules. All of them. Especially 6. Rule 6 is unreadable. Then you'll have to figure it out." He climbed into the boat, hands shaking. 72 hours. The relief boat comes every 3 days like clockwork. You'll hear the horn. That's when you leave. I needed this job desperately. Student loans, medical bills from mom's cancer treatment, and a mountain of credit card debt had backed me into a corner. $3,000 for 3 days of work. Simple lighthouse keeping during fog season. Illegal as hell to hire someone without Coast Guard certification, but I wasn't in a position to refuse. Now, standing in the lamp room as true night settled over the ocean, I understood why Marcus had run. The fog had arrived at sunset, rolling in from the east like a gray avalanche. Within minutes, it had swallowed the mainland completely. The beacon spun overhead, cutting white beams through the murk every 15 seconds. And the knocking had started. I checked the instruction card obsessively for the past 6 hours, memorizing every word I could read. But Rule 6 remained a blur of water-stained ink, and its absence felt like a missing tooth. You couldn't stop probing the gap. The radio on the desk crackled. "St. Augustine Light, this is Harbor Master." "Marcus, you still there?" "Over." I grabbed the receiver. "This is the relief keeper." "Marcus left yesterday." "Over." Static answered me. Then through the noise, "No, he didn't." My blood went cold. "What?" "Marcus Webb left the lighthouse 12 days ago. We sent out 3 relief keepers. None of them responded to check-ins. You're the 4th. The voice paused. "We're calling the Coast Guard at first light. Hold tight." The transmission cut off. 12 days? That was impossible. I'd met Marcus yesterday. I'd watched him leave, unless... I grabbed the logbook and flipped to the most recent entries. Marcus's handwriting filled page after page, but the dates made no sense. September 14th. September 14th. September 14th. The same date, over and over, for 3 pages. Today was October 3rd. Below the last September 14th entry, Marcus had written one final line in shaking letters. Don't trust the days. Count the beacon rotations. The lighthouse groaned, and I heard footsteps on the stairs below, climbing up toward me. But Rule 2 said the stairs only go down at night. I locked the lamp room door and pressed my ear against the metal. The footsteps continue their steady ascent, one floor below, maybe two. Slow and deliberate, accompanied by a wet dragging sound. Rule 3, keep all doors closed between sunset and sunrise. The door was closed. I was following the rules. The footsteps stopped directly outside. Silence stretched for 20 heartbeats. Then, Keeper, a man's voice. Rough, tired. Who are you? I called through the door. Marcus Webb. Let me in. Impossible. Marcus was gone. Unless the harbor master was right, and time here didn't work the way it should. What's Rule 6? I asked. The silence that followed told me everything. You can read it, can't you? The voice was patient. Almost kind. I laminated that card myself. The ink's perfectly fine. You just have to look at it the right way. I pulled out the card and held it up to the beacon light. In the white flash, Rule 6 was still illegible. But when the light passed and shadow returned, for just a second, I saw words. Never let Marcus Webb back inside. The letters faded immediately back into smudges. You saw it, didn't you? The voice outside had changed slightly. Still Marcus's voice, but flatter. Less human. That's the problem with rules. They only work if you follow them exactly. But what happens when following one rule means breaking another? What do you mean? Rule 3 says keep all doors closed at night. But Rule 8 talks about reaching the mainland. How do you reach the mainland if you can't open doors? A soft laugh. The rules are a trap, Keeper. They were always a trap. The door handle began to turn despite the lock. I grabbed the nearest heavy object, a fire extinguisher, and backed toward the beacon light. The door burst open. Nothing came through. The stairwell beyond was empty, lit by the emergency light's sickly yellow glow. No Marcus. No wet footprints. Just concrete stairs descending into shadow. But I could still hear breathing. I swung the beacon light around manually, flooding the stairwell with white light. For one rotation, I saw him, Marcus Webb, or what was left of him, pressed flat against the wall like an insect. His body was wrong, elongated, joints bending in too many places. His face stretched into a smile that split his head nearly in half. The light passed. In the shadow, he was gone. The fog took my shape, the voice said from somewhere nearby. Everywhere nearby. It takes everyone's shape eventually. That's what happens when you stay too long. When you break too many rules. When you figure out the truth. What truth? There is no relief boat. There never was. I looked at the calendar on the wall. One of those cheap paper ones with a lighthouse photograph. Today's date was circled in Marcus's handwriting, October 3rd. But every single day before it, stretching back to September 1st, was also circled. 33 days of October 3rd. We're not in time anymore, the Marcus thing said. We're in the space between seconds. The lighthouse is the pin that holds this moment in place. The beacon keeps us here. And the fog. He laughed, a sound like breaking glass. The fog is everything that wants in. I ran to the window. The fog pressed against it, and I finally saw what it really was, faces. Thousands of faces. Million. Pressed together, moving, screaming silently, reaching toward the light. The beacon was attracting them. Rule 1 said never extinguish it. But keeping it on was feeding something terrible. I descended 3 flights of stairs before I realized I was moving the wrong direction. Down. At night. Violating Rule 2. But staying in the lamp room with that thing, pretending to be Marcus, wasn't an option. The lighthouse felt different as I moved through it. The walls were slick with condensation that shouldn't exist in a sealed structure. My footsteps echoed wrong, arriving a half second after my feet hit the floor. And through every window, the fog pressed close, those countless faces watching my every movement. I reached the operations room on the 3rd level. The door was closed, good, but light showed underneath it. Flickering. Orange. Fire. I pressed my palm against the door. Cool. Not fire. Rule 5, if you hear your name called, verify the source through a closed door before responding. Hello. I called. Is someone in there? Keeper. A woman's voice. Young. Terrified. Oh God, please help me. It's after me. The fog thing. I can't. I grabbed the handle. Stop. What's your name? I asked. Silence. Then, Sarah? My name's Sarah. I'm Marcus's sister. He left me here. Please. It's breaking the windows. Sarah. My dead sister's name. The fog knew my thoughts. My memories. It was showing me what I'd lost, just like Rule 7 warned. You're not Sarah, I said, backing away from the door. The voice changed, deepening. No, but she wants to meet you. They all do. Everyone you've lost. Everyone you've failed. They're all here in the fog, and they're so very hungry. The door bulged outward, with splintering. I ran. Down another flight. The 4th level. The living quarters Marcus had occupied. The door hung open, violating Rule 3, and I could see inside. The room looked exactly like it should. Bed, desk, small kitchenette. Except Marcus Webb sat at the desk, writing in a logbook. The real Marcus. Not the stretched horror from the lamp room. He looked normal, human, exhausted. He glanced up as I approached. Don't come in, he said flatly. I'm not really here. None of us are really here anymore. What happened to you? He set down his pen, and I saw his hand was translucent. Fading. I figured out Rule 6. And once you know it, you can't unknow it. You can't leave. He smiled sadly. Welcome to Forever, Keeper. Your shift just started. Rule 6, I said, standing in the doorway, refusing to cross the threshold into his room. I saw it for a second. It says, never let you back inside. Marcus Ghost laughed. That's what you saw. But that's not what it means. He turned the logbook toward me. The pages were covered in writing, the same sentence repeated thousands of times in gradually degrading handwriting. The Lighthouse doesn't guide ships. It feeds the fog. I worked it out over weeks, Marcus said. Thought I was losing my mind. But then I started counting the beacon rotations like I told you to. 15 seconds per rotation. 24 hours equals 5,760 rotations. So I counted 6 million rotations, Keeper. That's nearly 42 years of days. But I only aged 3 weeks. He stood, and I saw he was partially transparent, like old glass. Time doesn't pass here. It accumulates. Every Keeper who figures it out gets stuck in this moment, trapped between the rotation of the light. We're all here. 17 of us now. That's impossible. The Lighthouse was built wrong. On purpose. The foundation stones come from somewhere else. Somewhere cold and old and hungry. They mark a thin place. A tear. The beacon light keeps it sealed, but it also attracts things. Draws them to the tear. And when enough gather, when enough press against the barrier, he gestured to the fog outside. They bleed through. Little by little. I pulled out the instruction card again. Held it up to the emergency light. This time, under the yellow glow, different words appeared in Rule 6. The beacon must be maintained until 3 a.m. on the 3rd night. Then it must be destroyed. There it is, Marcus said. The real rule. The one that actually matters. Why 3 a.m. on the 3rd night? Because that's when the accumulation hits critical mass. 3 days of compressed time. 72 hours collapsed into a single moment. If the beacon is still active at 3 a.m., the seal breaks completely. The fog pours through. And it doesn't stop at the Lighthouse. He walked toward me, feet not quite touching the floor. You have to destroy the beacon, Keeper. Smash the lens. Kill the light. But Rule 1 says never extinguish it. His translucent face showed terrible sympathy. So which rule do you break? Which rule damns you? The beacon above us flickered. For 3 full seconds, it turned blood red. I ran back up the stairs, 4 flights, gasping, my legs burning. The lamp room door stood open, and the beacon blazed white again, but something had changed. 17 people stood around the lamp mechanism. Some looked fresh, normal. Others were fading like Marcus. 2 were barely visible, just suggestions of human shapes. They all watched me with the same exhausted expression. You're all the Keepers, I said. A woman in Coast Guard uniform nodded. She was almost completely transparent. I was first. 1973. They told me it was a test run before full automation. 3 days, easy money. She gestured at the beacon. 50 years ago. For me, it's been 6 hours. An old man, more solid than the others, spoke next. I destroyed the beacon on my second night. Thought I'd figured it out early. Thought I'd beat it. He held up his hands. They ended in stumps where he'd apparently smashed them against the lens. The fog came in anyway. Turns out the beacon isn't what holds the seal. The lighthouse itself is the seal. The light just keeps us visible. Keeps us real. Then what's the point of destroying it? I demanded. To stop attracting more, Marcus said from behind me. I spun. He followed me up, now fully visible in the beacon's light. Every night the light shines, more things gather. More press against the barrier. The lighthouse can hold them for 3 days. After that, the weight of their attention cracks reality. So we keep doing 3-day shifts. Forever. Each keeper gets pulled in, repeats the same 3 days, makes the same choices. I looked at the calendar. October 3rd. The same date I've been here for. How long have I been here, really? No one answered. How long? Does it matter? The Coast Guard woman asked. You're here now. You'll be here always. The only choice is whether you destroy the beacon and let the next keeper have a chance, or keep it running and doom them to the same loop. I grabbed the card, held it under the beacon's direct light. This time, Rule 6 revealed its final message. The lighthouse chooses its keepers. It calls them. If you came here, you were already marked. Below that, in fresher ink that hadn't been there before. You volunteered because Sarah wanted you to understand. My dead sister's name, written in my own handwriting. No. I stared at the card. No, that's not. I don't remember writing that. You will, Marcus said gently. When the loop completes, when you become one of us, you'll remember all of it. Every iteration, every choice. And you'll realize you've been here before. Many times, I backed against the window. The fog had changed again. Instead of pressed faces, it now showed scenes, memories playing out in the gray. I saw myself as a child with Sarah. I saw the accident. I saw her funeral. I saw myself 3 months ago, receiving a letter about a lighthouse keeping position. A letter I'd never questioned. Never wondered who sent it. In the fog, I watched myself read that letter. Watched my own hand reaching up to touch the paper, and as I did, the memory me turned and looked directly at the real me through the fog. Memory me mouthed words. Break the pattern. This is what the fog does, the Coast Guard woman said. It shows you truth. Your own truth. The lighthouse didn't randomly hire you. You sought it out. You answered a call you don't remember receiving. Because some part of you, the part that exists outside this 3-day loop, knows you're supposed to be here. Why? My voice cracked. Why would I do this to myself? Because someone has to, a new voice said. I turned. Standing in the doorway was another keeper I hadn't seen before. He was different from the others, not translucent, but wrong in a different way. His edges flickered like a bad television signal. I'm Thomas Marsh. I built this lighthouse in 1908, and I made a mistake. He walked toward the beacon, passing through the other keepers like smoke. There was a ship, a fishing vessel. They found something in the deep water. Something old. They brought it to shore, and it started a calling. Drawing things. I built the lighthouse to contain it. To mark the spot where it couldn't spread. What did they find? A piece of the fog. Just a fragment. But fragments grow. He touched the beacon lens, and his hand sparked with blue light. The lighthouse keeps it localized. The light keeps us aware. And the keepers are the sacrifice that keeps the rest of the world safe. The beacon flickered again. Red. Longer this time. I checked my watch, 2:47 a.m. 13 minutes until 3 a.m. on the third night. I grabbed the heavy wrench from the emergency toolkit and raised it above the beacon lens. Wait, Marcus shouted. If you destroy it now, Sarah dies. She's part of the mechanism. You'll kill her. Sarah's light form smiled. I'm already dead, brother. I died the moment I accepted this role. Do it. No. I lowered the wrench. There's another way. I I pulled out the instruction card one final time and held it directly against the red beacon light. In that crimson glow, the rules transformed completely. Rule 1. The beacon is fed by awareness. As long as someone maintains consciousness of its purpose, it shines. Rule 2. There is only one staircase. Up and down are the same. Time is the illusion. Rule 3. Doors closed at night keep you separate. Doors open unite you with what you've been running from. Rule 4. The fog knocks to test if you're still individual. Even numbers mean you're fragmenting. Rule 5. Your name called is yourself calling. Verify you're still you. Rule 6. The lighthouse needs a keeper. But keeper doesn't mean prisoner. It means choice. Rule 7. What you've lost is only lost if you refuse to see it differently. Rule 8. Red means threshold. You have 30 minutes to choose what you're becoming. It's not a trap, I said, understanding flooding through me. It's a test. An offer. Thomas Marsh flickered brighter. Finally, someone gets it. I turned to the 17 trapped keepers. You're not prisoners. You're volunteers who forgot you chose this. Who forgot you can leave anytime. Leave. The Coast Guard woman laughed bitterly. Leave to where? We're dead. Faded. Gone. Your patterns of consciousness held by belief, I said, the words coming from that same deep place of certainty. The lighthouse doesn't trap you. Your conviction that you're trapped does. I looked at Sarah. Show me how to take your place. Not as a prisoner. As a choice. She touched my forehead with her light hand, and I understood everything. The lighthouse wasn't built to contain the fog. It was built to transform it. To turn the crushing weight of infinite lost things into a signal. A beacon that told the lost, you can stop searching. You can rest. The fog wasn't attacking. It was pleading. I stepped into the beacon mechanism center. The red light enveloped me, and I felt myself beginning to dissolve, not painfully, but like ice melting into water. Still myself, but expanded. What are you doing? Marcus shouted. Accepting it. Consciously. Not as a sacrifice, but as a purpose. I looked at Sarah. We do this together. Share the burden. And we invite everyone here to help. Not as prisoners. As volunteers. One by one, the other keepers understood. They stepped forward, joining their consciousness with the light. Not disappearing, transforming. The beacon shifted from red to gold to brilliant white. Through my expanded awareness, I felt the fog change. The desperate, grasping thing became something else. A meeting place. A memorial. A light that said, the lost are not forgotten. Sarah's voice merged with mine. The relief boat comes at dawn. For those who choose to leave. Marcus looked at his translucent hands. Looked at the exit. Looked at us. I think, he said slowly, I might stay. Just for a while. Someone should keep the log. I felt myself smile with light instead of lips. The beacon spun, and I spun with it, and through the endless fog I saw clearly. 17 keepers had become one light. And somewhere in the world, someone else was reading a letter about a lighthouse position. The cycle continued. But now it continued by choice.